You a bit more of what Akusia Sewa Fosu is seeking from the court, and she's asking the court to declare that the plaintiff in this case, the second wife, Priscilla Ofori, also known as Odobroni, Transition Homes, and the Ebusia Penyi, that she wants the court to say that the plaintiff, which is her, is the only surviving spouse of the late Charles Kojo Fosu, also known as Daddy Lumba. The first wife is also asking the court to declare that only the plaintiff, which is herself and her children, have the right to perform the widowhood rites of Daddy Lumba. And then a further order restraining the first defendant from ever dealing with the second defendant as spouse of the deceased. Now, if you didn't go through that, the first defendant will be the Ebusia Penyi, and then the second defendant in that case will be the woman known as the second wife, and she is asking the court to order that the second defendant does not carry herself as the surviving spouse of Daddy Lumba. Let's have a quick chat on the back of this. We'll engage now the thoughts of private legal practitioner Christian Malm Hesse. Christian, thank you so much for your time here. But listen, give us a bit of education on this. What does this mean in the face of the law, really? Well, it would appear we cannot hear him at this time. But so let's go through the reliefs, because it's a whole host of reliefs, at least about a dozen of them. And as part of the reliefs being sought by, Akusia Sewa Fosu, who's Daddy Lumba's first wife, she wants to be declared the only surviving spouse of the late Daddy Lumba. Let's talk now to Christian Malm Hesse, who's a legal practitioner on this matter developing over the last 24 hours or so. Christian, again, thank you so much for your time here. Hopefully you can hear us now. But all of these things that are going on, what really is the interpretation the law gives to circumstances like this?
Yeah, good afternoon to your viewers, and just a digress before I come on. Congratulations to the newly called lawyers to the bar. The point is that if you look at our law, when we say locus classicus, it basically deals with the decided case or the decided principle that deals with a particular matter. Now, when it comes to burial, arrangement of funeral rites, procuring the body from the morgue, decision taking as far as a deceased person is concerned in Ghana, the case to go to is called Nikwe and another versus Oko. It's a 1993-1994 case that set the precedent right, and it crystallized that when the person dies, it is the family that owns the body, and the nuclear family, that's the wife, the surviving spouse, and then the children. Their decisions come to place, so the family is to consult them on matters, but their decisions merely remains wishes. In fact, the judge used that word, wishes. So when it comes to arrangement of funeral and all the antecedent issues, the nuclear family, albeit the surviving spouse, just need to express their wishes for the family to consider and factor in the arrangement and organization of the funeral. The spouse or the family, the nuclear family, cannot dictate the direction of how the funeral and all that will go, but their wishes are just desirous, and that is what the law says. That principle has been set, and that is it. So because in that particular case, that is what happened, and the court had to dismiss a number of the release that the wife and children at the time had brought. If you look at Daddy Lumba's situation, Daddy Lumba's wife, as it is, she says she's the wife. Indeed, her contention should come when an application for letters of administration is filed as who is wife and who qualifies to be an administrator thereof. We have not gotten there yet. But if it has to do with the funeral organization and anything that has to do with it, then I believe that with the of respect, matters are misplaced now. There should be an engagement, there should be mediation towards the organization, but the stance taken now will not help. I have been in a matter like that which went before the High Court, where the family was contending to have the funeral, and the children also maintained that the deceased mother wanted to be buried in Accra. At the end of the day, it's mediation. The court stepped in and said that parties need to mediate in order for this dispute to come to an end. So I would rather pray that the lawyers involved, I mean, they should know the case, and they should know the position of the law. That when it comes to organization of funeral, the law is to the family, and there's nothing that one can do to change it. That is their position, unless one goes to Supreme Court to have by way of tariff to change that position. But as the position of the law now, the family has every right on deciding how the funeral should go.
Very well. So, Hesi, I mean, what we are saying now, Hesi, is that this injunction application does not have the ability to stop the funeral on December 6th?
The injunction would be heard, but at the end of the day, the matter will go nowhere. That is the position. That's the position of the law. The injunction would be heard. The family would also file an opposition to it. Indeed, the Niku and another versus Kuku, it is the wife, just as you have it, the wife and the children filed an application, filed an injunction application, and at the end of the day, the court ruled that you cannot have the spouse and the children cannot dictate how the funeral, the arrangement, the procurement of the body from the mortuary should go. It is a decision that squarely lies with the family through the head of family. And it is not that of the spouse to decide, but they should be consulted, and that their wishes are to be heard. So whatever they desire, whatever they have on their heart, the court describes it as wishes. And that the family should hear them.
Hesi, there's also been the question about whether or not the late High Life artist committed bigamy when he married under German law and then also customarily married his second wife.
Come again, please. I didn't get that.
Well, I'm asking. There's also been the conversation as to whether or not there was bigamy involved here when he married under German law, Akosua Sewa, but also married Odobroni here in Ghana customarily, and whether or not that has a way of preventing Odobroni from asserting herself as the second wife or even the widow of Daddy Lumba. What does the law say?
Now, I mean, definitely, I mean, if you are married by ordinance, and you cannot marry another person by way of customary law, because the law says that customary marriage and ordinance are mutually exclusive of each other. So you need to dissolve the ordinance marriage before you marry somebody by customary law marriage. But if you marry someone by customary law marriage, you can marry another person too by customary law marriage, because customary law marriage is polygamous in nature. But once you marry somebody by ordinance, you can definitely not marry the other by customary law marriage. So, if that Daddy Lumba has done such a thing, you cannot hold him for bigamy. The person is in the morgue.
Absolutely.
The person is dead. So at the end of the day, if they are fighting for bigamy, that will not happen. Number two, where she can fight for is letters of administration. And if Daddy Lumba has done a will, then the will speaks for itself unless she can come under section 13 of the will act to say that provision was not made for her and she'll suffer hardship and all of that. That's one. Those are the exceptions under which the court can make a provision under the will. But aside that, currently as it deals with funeral arrangements, and we are not dealing with probate or letters of administration, with funeral arrangements, everything lies with the family. The family is vested with that legal and customary authority to do it. However, the spouse or the children of the deceased are to be heard, and that is the position of the law.
But I mean, our local laws also give some privileges to, even if this is not recognized under law, it does give privileges to cohabitation, especially those that have produced children. Is that the case?
So, I mean, where we stretch it to, or where we jump the matter to issues of letters of administration or who is wife, who is not wife, at the end of the day, assuming without admitting that the one from Germany is married under ordinance, as she claims, and this one was also married under customary law marriage, then it would stand to suggest in law that the second marriage was no marriage at all, because Daddy Lumba married the first one under ordinance. So once it is under ordinance and is mutually exclusive of each other, the second marriage before the law never existed. And that if she has to benefit under PNDC law 111, assuming without that Lumba did not execute a will, then the second wife would benefit through the children. So the children would benefit, and then and that is how she would benefit there. But if that Lumba indeed executed the will, then the will would dictate how everybody's rights or whatever demise under the will benefit the beneficiary.
Very well. We'll end it here and see how this plays out in court. Thank you so much. Christian Malm Hesse is a private legal practitioner.